Hi everybody, I'm Freeze, and today I'm presenting to you Numark's iDJ Pro, a dedicated hardware controller for Algoriddim's DJ app. iDJ Pro can be used with all iPads, but today I'm using an iPad 3. First of all, let's look at the front and rear panels of the iDJ Pro. On the rear of the unit, we have XLR and RCA outputs. On the front of the unit, if you want to connect your iPod or computer, we have an auxiliary input with accompanying volume knob. We also have a microphone input with mic gain and mic tone adjustments. And lastly, we have the 1/4 inch and 1/8 inch jacks for your headphones. We give you a dedicated Q mix knob where you can dial in your Q or master mix and adjust the volume of your headphone with the Q gain knob. Let's get started by loading some tracks. We have a load button for the left deck and a load button for the right deck. Pressing load 1 will bring up your iTunes playlist. You can then use the browse encoder to dial in the track you want. Once you find that track, press load 1 and it'll load to that deck. We can also load tracks from the iPad. Once your playlist comes up, you can use your finger to scroll, and you can tap on a track and it'll load that track to that deck. Now that I've loaded a couple of tracks, I want to set my initial cue point to the beginning of the track. We do that by dialing in, finding our place, setting the cue point, test it out, and let it rip. Sounds good. For volume control, we've given you these old school rotary knobs. Very smooth, very nice. You know, I'm noticing the song is not as loud as my other tracks. Luckily, we have on-screen gain adjustment. Touch, bring it up, and there you go. We've also given you 3-band EQ. You have your bass, your mids, and your trebles. We also have a fully adjustable crossfade. If you're a hip-hop DJ, we've given you a cut mode. If you're a house DJ, we have a long fade mode. And for all you hamster DJs, we've given you that as well. Now let's move on to the next section. It houses the transport controls and hot cues. You have your standard play pause button. You have your set initial cue point, return to cue point. Above that are the hot cues. You can set those on the fly or beforehand. You can play with it. You can also delete hot cues on the fly and reset them. Another important thing about hot cues is that it allows us to get to parts of the song that are important to us, like a break, which I've done beforehand. And still, you can set it on the fly, so have fun with it. At some point, you're going to want to mix 2 songs together, and I'm going to show you how to do that. Real easy. First of all, let's play the song. We give you standard controls like pitch fader. You can also adjust it with the pitch bend buttons, or you can use the side of the platter. So now that you see the tools, I want to mix 2 songs together. Right now you can see the songs I have loaded are in varying BPMs. We need to match them in order for them to mix. So I'm going to grab the pitch fader and speed it up. As you can see, the numbers are increasing. Once your numbers match, you're going to see that the sync button has come on. Easy peasy. Once they're matched up, you're able to mix. If you don't want to go through all of that, you can return the pitch fader to 0, hit the sync button, and again, they're at the same tempo. So now that they're matched up, we can mix them. I'm going to do that for you right now. Sounds good? I'm going to fade out the old song. Good, now once we're over, I'm going to want to reset the sync. So it's easy to do, you just bring it down, and now your sync is reset. Another cool feature, besides the pitch bending and the mixing of the platter, very good for scratching, and I want to show that to you really quickly. There's a cool option here, loading doubles. The same song is now on both decks. The platters have a couple more features. If you disengage scratch, the top now becomes pitch bend. If you hold shift and press scratch, you can now scrub forward and backwards in your track and stay in time. The next section we're hitting is the looping section. iDJ Pro gives us 3 ways of doing loops. The first one is manual looping. You have your loop in, loop out, and reloop buttons. Set an in point, set an out point. If you want to get out of the loop, hit the auto button. And if you ever want to return to your loop, just hit reloop. The second type of loop I want to talk about is auto looping. Auto looping is determined by the value you see here on screen. It's also adjustable with these have and double buttons. In order to engage, you just hit the auto button. And while within that loop, you can halve it or double it. Get out of it in the same fashion, and if you have to reloop, hit the reloop. The last loop I want to get into are stutter rolls. Very cool, my favorite. All you have to do is hit shift and hit one of the buttons that we've already explored. If you can see below the buttons, we have time divisions. Just have fun with it. Easy peasy. Next, let's talk about effects. There are 3 dedicated effects sections that can be used simultaneously. I'm gonna play some music. First effect is up top. Tap on screen. Select which effect you want. I'm gonna choose flanger. Close the effect. Off to the right are your parameter knobs. So to engage the effect, we push the FX button. And we can use the knob to dial in the parameter. And to disengage the effect, we just hit the FX button. The next effect is a dedicated filter knob on both decks. You have your standard low pass and high pass filter. Next, we're going to talk about interactive effects. They're mapped to an XY pad on screen, and you can dial in which effect you want up here. I'm going to choose echo, and all you need to do is swipe your finger across the XY pad. And it's going to make cool sounding effects. The last effect we're going to use is instant effects. These are preconceived effect chains that do magical things when you tap the buttons. And as I said before, all these effects can be used simultaneously. Next, I want to talk about the sampler. To get there, you just tap here on the middle of the screen. It brings up the sampler section. You have 8 independent triggers. To launch them, all you have to do is tap on screen. You can also edit each trigger and load a different sample. So let's do foghorn. Hit done. Fire off that foghorn. It's also cool that you can load your own samples via iTunes. And there you have a brief overview of Numark's iDJ Pro. Before we leave, I want to show you a couple of other features. We have master tempo that allows you to change the tempo without affecting pitch. We also have waveform zooming that allows you to get in on the waveform, closer look. And we also have an auto mix feature. This allows you to select a playlist and various transition types, and it'll auto mix that playlist for you. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Word to your mother.